Welcome back. So today I'm going to do something I haven't done in quite some time, several months at least. I'm going to do a book haul. And it is entirely fiction. I think I'm going to do a nonfiction haul too. An interesting thing about the fiction that I bought over the last 2 or 3 months, however long it's been, is that I have read quite a bit of it. So I have a habit of like buying books and then putting them on the shelves and not reading them for quite some time. But over the past few months, I've actually been reading quite a lot of what I've bought. So that's why this stack is smaller than it could have been. And I don't know if this is everything that I've bought in the last 3 months that I haven't read yet. I kind of doubt it, but I looked and I just felt like doing a haul. I felt like, so Paul from the Accidental Bookseller asked me to take part in Christmas Day on Booktube. So Christmas Day on Booktube was an event that we were supposed to have a book haul video posted on Christmas Day so that people who uh, maybe couldn't spend time with their families or who had to do other things or were involved in taking care of someone, things like that, so that they could have something to look forward to and take their minds off things on Christmas Day. I wanted to take part in that. I actually did film a 40 some odd minute book haul for Christmas Day on Booktube, but it came out, I made it, for some reason I made it late at night. I was very tired, and I have noticed that when I am tired and whispering, like I don't actually whisper, I don't think that I whisper. One of the things, so I have like tinnitus, like ringing in my ears. So I always have on background noise, a fan, music, uh, a fan, music, the television, something going all the time. So when you turn all that off and the house is silent like it is now, I automatically whisper because I'm used to talking over things. I'm not used to talking out loud by myself in complete silence. That's the reason I whisper. It's not like, it doesn't sound like a whisper to me, but then I watch the videos and people comment. Like I had some people say that I was the Bob Ross of Booktube, which was a very, very nice compliment in a way, but I don't do this intentionally. I wish that I could speak normally, uh, so that I wouldn't have to boost the audio. Anyway, my point is I wanted to take part in that. I tried to take part in that. The video came out really, really long and slow and whispery and somber. And so I wasn't able to post for Christmas Day on Booktube. So this is sort of a late making up for that because I wanted to take part in that. And I also want to thank Paul for that because I turned out I needed those videos myself. I needed Christmas Day on Booktube. Not that I had a bad Christmas or anything. So anyway, with we'll just get on to the books because I know that's why everybody is here. So there's no order to this really, except for towards the end, I guess. So the first book is White Jacket by Herman Melville, who wrote Moby Dick. And I read Moby Dick, and I really did enjoy that book. Okay, like part of it is fiction, part of it is like the history and factual information about whaling in the 19th century. And I think that trips a lot of people up. I could definitely see it, but I was really captivated by that from the very beginning when Ishmael meets Queequeg in this New England inn. It was just and I just went all the way through that thing. And I didn't find the whaling parts or the factual parts to be as distracting as a lot of people do. I think because I really like nonfiction and I read a lot of history and that sort of thing, and I'm the kind of nerd who reads like how-to manuals for fun. But I really did not enjoy reading about whaling at all. There's a phrase Melville uses about whaling, which is peeling whales like oranges, and I could just do without all of that. And But I liked the story itself, you know, Mad Captain Ahab and Queequeg and Ishmael and Starbuck and that wonderful scene with like the what is it called? St. Elmo's fire. That's my favorite scene in the entire book. But this is apparently semi-autobiographical. Let's see. The novel is based in large part on Melville's own experiences when, after jumping ship from a New Bedford whaler, living with cannibals, being rescued by an Australian whaler, and joining in a mutiny, he at last found himself on a 14-month journey home aboard the frigate United States. But it is Melville's extraordinary narrative power and satirically biting wit which transforms the man-of-war United States into the Never Sink, a ship that becomes a microcosm of the larger world. So I'm kind of tripping over my words there, but it has something to do with flogging. I know, like the main character gets flogged for something or something of that nature. But I had just never seen this. I'm sure I have, but I never looked for it before. But I just found this for something like $1.59. Yeah, $1.59. And so I also really, really like these Signet Classics. These Signet Classic paperbacks. Now this one doesn't have, I like the cover, but there's a whole bunch of these Signet Classics that have like Grant Wood style covers that I really, really like. Next is, let's see, a completely new novel by Hank Searles, based on the screenplay by Howard Sackler and Dorothy Tristan, inspired by Peter Benchley's Jaws 2, which quite a while back, like 6 or 7, maybe more than that. It was right after I read The Poseidon Adventure. I asked Steve Donahue on one of his live streams what his favorite disaster novel was, and he told me it was Jaws 2, which is, I have been searching for a copy of Jaws for like a year now. And I think that maybe, I used to see them quite often, and I never thought to buy one. And I think maybe the 50th anniversary of Jaws, the movie, kind of maybe made those collectible or something, but I just cannot find them anymore. So I got Jaws 2 at the same time that I got White Jacket, actually, and it was also $1.59. So let's see. The next is something that I thought about buying quite some time ago. So it was $1. It sat on the shelf at this half-price books for quite some time. I thought somebody had bought it, but I guess it just got moved around because I found it again the day before yesterday. And it is Juggernaut by Desmond Bagley, or maybe. I'm always at a loss how to pronounce people's names. So it has this Alistair MacLean blurb here on the front. It said, "I've read all of Bagley's books. I think he's better than I am." So that sort of pushed me over the edge into buying this one, even though I think it might be a little bit strange. So it is The Juggernaut, a 550-ton tractor trailer, a monster machine longer than a football field carrying vital equipment. The objective, to provide the desperately needed electrical power to tap the underground bounty of oil-rich Africa. The leader, tough and savvy, he's no stranger to trouble, but the explosion of a bloody civil war is more than he bargained for. And then the next blurb says, virile adventure. An American troubleshooter has plenty to shoot at as he accompanies a gigantic transformer and its moving crew through the middle of a West African civil war. So this could either be really, really good or really, really terrible. That's sort of the nature of these action thrillers like this. It may be something to read for like Garb August. You know what would be interesting? I was thinking this the other day, and I may just be in the dark about this, but it would be kind of interesting to have a month-long event of like action novels and thrillers. I don't know if that exists. I mean, I know I could start one because I apparently am a booktuber, even though I've never really been able to accept that fact and I get it through my head. I keep wondering when I'll feel like a booktuber, when I'll feel like I can jump into these big discussions and wade into the bloody fray and all that sort of thing. Not that I particularly want to, but I just wonder, like, when do you reach that point where you realize, yes, I am indeed one of those booktubers. Uh, but anyway, I just think it would be interesting if there was an event about action thrillers, and there may be one. What's even stranger is that I may know that there is one and just be forgetting all about it. Anyway, so the next is Robert E. Howard's Swords of Charizard. In this edition, I don't think that this is the Elsprague de Camp edition. I'm not entirely sure about this. I have another one like this that is Skullface and Other Stories. And they have these posters. I'm going to try to show this poster without tearing this book in half. I can't really open the whole way, but now the Skullface edition I have actually has two posters in it, and it's the same poster. It's just repeated, so I wonder if that was like an accident. Now, I don't know anything about Swords of Charizard. I don't think I've really heard anyone talk about this one, unless Michael K. Vaughan talked about it several years ago, which is a distinct possibility, and I have just forgotten. So that would be interesting. I've read quite a lot of Robert E. Howard's work. I've read Conan and Solomon Kane, a bunch of his horror stories, his like Lovecraftian stories, and I'm always interested in reading Howard's work. I really need to get back into it because I also have Bran McMorn and I have Elborak in the Del Rey editions, and I have Skullface. I never did read all of Skullface. Well, okay, I keep wondering where to go next. So here is Douglas Morgan's Tiger Cruise. This is about a destroyer that is transporting civilians from one place to another during a typhoon, and they are also boarded by pirates. So that could be really interesting, really good, or it could be really awful. And that could go both ways. Maybe the story is interesting and the writing is terrible, or maybe the writing is really good and the story is terrible. Who knows? Or sometimes you get lucky and the writing and the story is quite good. So this is another book that I thought, it sat on a shelf for a long time. I thought about buying it. I went to the bookstore. It was not there anymore. I thought somebody had bought it. And then it appeared again. And when I say that, it's not just that these are the same book or the same edition. This is the same book. I know because of the tag here and the tag on the back. And okay. So we'll do these next, I guess. This is just a stack of Able Team Royal Flush, Able Team Death Ride, and Able Team Death Strike. So these Able Team, they are a team of three guys. There's Carl Lyons, Paul Blancanales, and Gadget Schwartz, and I know that because it says on the back, but also because I've read quite a few of these now. And let's see, that is Paul Blancanales, that is Gadget Schwartz, and that is Carl Lyons, the Iron Man. And they are always fighting like KGB, Spetsnaz, drug cartels, Libyan death squads, like the IRA. It's very 80s. It's very much like an 80s action B movie, and they are just, some of them, so they're written by different people. Some of them are really good. Some of them are really not very good. And that goes both ways also. So sometimes the writing is really good and the story is not very good. And then sometimes the story is really interesting and the writing is not very good. And every now and then those two things will come together where we have a well-written story that is really interesting and really good. But you really never know what you're going to get until you get into them. So I'll show those again. Let's see. Death Strike Royal Flush and Death Ride, which I'm really kind of fond of these covers. They are so just, they're just perfect for this kind of book, aren't they? So that's Death Ride. And what's really nice about these covers is that they always correspond to something going on in the book itself. They are not just made up to look at. And the last, I kind of like this one the best of these. And then Phoenix Force. I got two Phoenix. These were all $1. So these were all $1. Like every now and then, my local bookstores will just get like a whole like mountain of these books and just want to get rid of them because they take up so much space. So we have Phoenix Force, Ninja Blood, which these Phoenix Force books always have these wraparound covers. The next is, let's see, Book 2 of the Bounty Hunter Wars, Star Wars Slave Ship. So I actually have the counterpart to this, and I wasn't going to start this one until I got the second one. I think that there are only two. This one is the Mandalorian armor, also by K.W. Jeter, and they both focus on Boba Fett and some people who are trying to get rid of Boba Fett. And I read Star Wars books every now and then. I don't always talk about them because it is kind of nice to have books that I read with no plan at all to talk about them on camera. And I know that kind of seems like I'm cheating and holding back on, what I've read and not sharing with you. But it is sometimes really nice to just read a book and have no desire and no plans to like sit in front of a camera and try to explain what it was. I'm not saying that I won't explain these, but just, and it's not just Star Wars books that I do that with. I sometimes do that with like thrillers and mystery novels. It's just kind of a little bit of break from not an external pressure. I don't want you to think that at all. It's not an external pressure. It's very much an internal pressure for me to talk about what I have read and to do it justice on screen. And sometimes I just want to read a book and not feel that. But again, it's not from viewers. It's not from the outside. It's all from in here. I just want to get everything right. So sometimes it's nice to just not have that. These next three are all by Russian writers. So we have Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich and Other Stories. Let's see what else is in here. The Cossacks and Happy Ever After. So I haven't read very much Tolstoy. I think that I've read some of his shorter works, like really like his short stories or maybe his essays, or maybe they weren't short stories but excerpts over the years, but I tried to read War and Peace when I was like 14, and I think I made it about 65 pages in. I had the really big paperback, the big Signet paperback, and I just wasn't ready for it. Just was not ready for that at all. And yesterday I came across the big Penguin Deluxe version of Anna Karenina, and I didn't buy that because I actually have a whole stack of novels and short stories by Russian writers, and also because I am not sure that Anna Karenina is really a book that would appeal to me. I know basically what it's about, like that this young woman marries a man and she has a very unhappy relationship, and so she has an affair with like a military officer or something. And I'm not a big fan of books like that. Um, maybe sometime down the road somewhere I might read that. And I just didn't buy it because I think that, at least here in the US, I think it seems to me that Tolstoy's most popular work in the US is not War and Peace, but Anna Karenina. I think that just has, for one thing, it's shorter, but I think it also has quite a bit of appeal to readers in the US based on its plot. sort of rambling about a book I've never read. I'm sorry. That may all be completely wrong. But anyway, I saw this and I thought, well, this would be probably a better place for me to start with Tolstoy, shorter works, novellas, and in fact, I'm thinking about, so if you look right over here, these are the books that I have pledged to read in, or reread rather, in 2026. And so I've been thinking that maybe, I used to do this thing where I gathered books together into like a priority shelf. So I would get books that I would like to get through in this current year and put them all together in one place. I didn't do that last year, and I think I actually broke up that shelf year before last just because it seemed like I never actually got to those books. But when I look back, the problem with my priority shelf was that it was like 100 books, like 100 books altogether, fiction and nonfiction. And I think it was just way too much pressure and too much. I didn't know where to start, right? So I would just kind of avoid that. So I'm trying not to do that this year. But I think this is going to go on my priority shelf, and maybe a couple of books by some of the other Russian writers that I have might go on that shelf also. I don't really know where to start, and so I have been considering maybe doing a video where I talk about all the Russian literature that I have and just asking where the best place to start with the books that I have would be. So I have read like a few of the, I've read like Solzhenitsyn's One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, and I've read some science fiction by Russian writers, which tends to be really good. Anyway, on to the next one. So here is a dual language English and Russian book of short stories. So we have Dostoevsky, Gogol, Pushkin, Turgenev, Chekhov, Sologub, Bunin, Samyatin, and several more. So I probably pronounced those all wrong. But this is really kind of neat. So you have the Russian on one side and English on the other. And I have some Chekhov somewhere. I have a collection of Chekhov stories somewhere also. I just mentioned that because I don't think I have very many collections of Russian short stories. And so this is really neat, actually. It was sitting there for a long, long time. And then the last one is Cancer Ward by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And I have quite a few books by Solzhenitsyn. I have at least the first two parts of the Gulag Archipelago. I have they're sitting right over here. The First Circle and August 1914 also. I really need to get around to reading these books, Solzhenitsyn. This one looks really interesting. So from what I understand, Solzhenitsyn spent like 10 years in a gulag, and then I'm not sure if he was let out because he had cancer or if he got out and had cancer, but he wound up in a cancer ward. So a lot of this comes from his own experience. And yeah, I just thought that was really neat. This is another book that I didn't buy the last couple of times that I saw it, but I started thinking about it, and I don't see these hardcover Solzhenitsyns very often, and I do wonder though about the translations. So these are all translations from the Solzhenitsyns I have. They're all translations from whenever these first came out. So this one is from 1968. Not that that means anything, but sometimes first translations are not always the best. That's all that I mean by that. Sometimes someone will come along later on and have a better translation. Yeah, but that is my little book haul here. I'll try to do a pyramid. Let's see. I don't know. These paperbacks, they'll probably fly off everywhere. Let's see here. So that is my fiction book haul over the past couple of months, mostly. Like I said, I've read quite a few of the ones that I have bought over the past few months, and I've really been scaling back my buying. I've really been trying to buy books that either I will read immediately or that I am not likely to see again. Which is not to say that I'm not buying some books just because I think they look interesting. Anyway, that is my book haul, and I want to thank you for joining me. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you know like where I should start with Solzhenitsyn between Cancer Ward, The First Circle, and August 1914. That would be really nice. Not so much. The Gulag Archipelago, I think, would be something that I would really have to be in the mood for, and I don't think I'm in the mood for that right now. Okay, so anyway, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.